President Bush, it is now my great honor to invite you to deliver the commencement address to the class of 1991.
President Duberstadt, thank you all very much. Thank you for that warm welcome, and I want to salute the President, salute Governor and Mrs. John Engler, representatives of the Congress, Purcell, Upton, and Vanderjack, and distinguished regents, and especially I want to pay my respects to our fellow honorary degree recipients. Barbara and I are very grateful for this high honor. Before this, there wasn't one lawyer in the family, and now we have two. The last time I was in Ann Arbor, we commemorated John Kennedy's unveiling of the Peace Corps. And as your commencement program indicates, Lyndon Johnson introduced the Great Society in a University of Michigan commencement address. Today, I want to talk to you about this historic moment, your commencement, your journey into the real world. Coincides with this nation's commencement into a world freed from Cold War conflict and thrust into an era of cooperation and economic competition. The United States plays a defining role in the world. Our economic strength, our military power, and most of all, our national character brought us to this special moment when our policies unleashed the economic expansion of the 1980s. We exposed forever the failures of socialism and reaffirmed our status as the world's greatest economic power. And when we sent troops to the Gulf, we showed that we take principles seriously, enough to risk dying for them. But there's another message. There's another message. We also take them seriously enough to help others in need. And today, men and women of Operation Provide Comfort toil on behalf of suffering Kurds. And today, our thoughts and prayers also go to the hundreds of thousands of people victimized by a vicious cyclone in Bangladesh. Our government has sent aid to that stricken land. Dozens of private agencies have sprung into action as well, sending food, water, supplies, and donations. The humanitarian instinct runs deep in our people, always has. It is an essential element of our American character. Our successes have banished the Vietnam-era phantoms of doubt and distrust. And in my recent travels around the country, I have felt an idealism that we Americans supposedly had lost. People have faith in the future, and they ask, what next? And they ask, how can I help? We have rediscovered the power of the idea that toppled the Berlin Wall and led a world to strike back at Saddam Hussein. And like generations before us, we have begun to define for ourselves the promise of freedom. I'd like to talk today about the nature of freedom and how its demands will shape our future as a nation. Let me start with the freedom to create. From its inception, the United States has been a laboratory for invention, exploration. Here, merit conquers circumstance. People of vision, Abraham Lincoln, Henry Ford, Martin Luther King Jr., outgrow rough origins and transform a world. These achievements of our free enterprise system, past ages, and in other economic orders, people could acquire wealth only seizing goods from others. Free enterprise liberates us from the Hobbesian quagmire, and it lets one person's fortune become everyone's gain. This system, built upon the foundation of private property harnesses our powerful instincts for creativity. It gives everyone an interest in shared prosperity, in freedom, and in respect. No system of development ever has nurtured virtue as completely and rigorously as ours. And we've become the most egalitarian system in history and one of the most harmonious because we let people work freely toward their destinies. When governments try to improve on freedom, say by picking winners and losers in the economic market, they fail. No conclave of experts, no matter how brilliant, can match the sheer ingenuity of a market that collects and distributes the wisdoms of millions of people, all pursuing their destinies in different ways. Our administration appreciates the power of free enterprise, and our economic and domestic programs try to apply the genius of the market to the needs of the nation. For example, we want to eliminate rules and red tape that bind the hands and the minds of entrepreneurs and innovators. Our America 2000 educational strategy challenges the nation to reinvent the American school, to compete in the race to unleash our national genius. And we've incorporated market incentives into our legislative proposals so taxpayers will get a fair return on their dollars. Just look at last year's child care legislation and the Clean Air Act, or this year's transportation bill. We've proposed a comprehensive banking reform package that strengthens the financial system upon which economic growth depends. And we repeatedly have tried to slash the capital gains so people with dreams have a chance of achieving them. And we want to extend the dignity of home ownership to people who live now in government-owned apartments. Home ownership gives people dignity. And although we've tried to transfer power into the hands of the people, we haven't done enough. In a world transformed by freedom, we must look out for other ways to help people build good lives for themselves and their families. The average worker in the United States now spends more than 4 months of each year working just to pay the tax man. And increasing numbers of citizens see that burden as a barrier to achieving their dreams. We've tried to put on a lid on the spending that drives taxes and to concentrate government efforts on truly national purposes. It's only common sense. And if we want to build faith in government, we must demand public services that serve the people. We must insist upon compassion that works. But the power to create also rests on other freedoms, especially the freedom, and I think about that right now, to think and speak one's mind. You see, thank you. The freedom, I had this written into the speech and I didn't even know these guys were going to be here.